what I want to talk to you about, two goals for today. I want to raise your awareness a little bit about a little different aspect of dementia and Alzheimer's disease, and I want to turn you into advocates. I want you in the future to do something that maybe you wouldn't have done in the past. So that's my two goals for today. When you think about Alzheimer's disease, I think you think about memory loss, you think maybe about the person getting violent or whatever. You have an image of Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. So dementia is made up of a lot of different illnesses. Alzheimer's is the greatest cause of dementia. But there's vascular dementia, which is caused by people having strokes or heart attacks and changes in the brain. Parkinson's disease causes a type of dementia. HIV infections, alcoholism. People use them interchangeably and doctors use them interchangeably. And the technical term is Alzheimer's disease type dementia. So it's if you think of an umbrella, Alzheimer's is one type of that dementia. How many people here know somebody personally who has Alzheimer's disease, a neighbor, family member, anybody? So it affects people's lives. But I don't think that when you think about Alzheimer's disease, you think about one of the first things that goes, and one of the most significant things that goes, is the person's judgment. The person is not able to make positive judgments. Sometimes you'll see people outside when it's cold out and they're wearing shorts. Or sometimes they want to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning. They don't have judgments. We've gone out to assess people and the person will answer the door in their underwear because they just don't know. The door rang, they weren't dressed, they answered the door. Somebody calls, they will give all the information over the phone. Alzheimer's disease in the very early stages, you wouldn't know if you just knew somebody casually that they had a problem. They talk to you, they're very socially graceful, and you don't really pick it up if there's a short conversation with them. But what the caregiver is noticing is that the person is asking the same questions over and over and over again. See people nodding. Are we going to the doctor today? Yes. Are we going to the doctor today? Yes. Are we going to the doctor? I told you we're going to the doctor today. But the first thing that happens in the brain is that the area that takes care of short-term memory dies. So the short-term memory isn't there, so the person repeats the same thing. Maybe they can't remember a word. Maybe they can't remember appointments. They don't show up for things. So that's in the early stages, and you wouldn't know it. In the middle stages, it becomes much more apparent that the person has Alzheimer's disease. They might not remember you. You might meet somebody and they might not remember you. A lot of times they don't remember your name. They might have some sort of vague idea that they knew you, but they really don't know what. And this is really when judgment starts setting in. And this is really when checkbooks start getting totally messed up. Family members will go and they'll notice that bills are stacking up and the person is not able to pay their bills. When this person was like a real stickler before, those bills were paid, they were paid on time, their checkbook was balanced. In the middle stages, they can't do this. And this is when it starts getting very hard on caregivers. This is when the person might start wandering. This is when the person might be up at the middle of the night. They want to go to work if they've always worked. They want to, 2 o'clock in the morning, they're putting on their suit and they want to go to work. So it gets very, very difficult on caregivers. And this is the stage where the scammers are really able to take advantage of people. The later stages is more advanced when the person might have trouble eating. That's when people really start getting help in AIDS. So why in Alzheimer's disease? Why does that make them so vulnerable? Number one, I mentioned already, judgment. They don't have the judgment to make good decisions. The second reason is that their ability to communicate is much diminished. So even if they feel something or even if they sense something, they're not able to tell somebody. They're not able to communicate how they used to communicate. And the third reason is embarrassment. It's embarrassing to tell somebody that you don't understand. It's embarrassing to tell somebody that you feel like you're taken advantage of. It's embarrassing. People don't reach out for help. So there's all these things that are working together to make them extremely, extremely vulnerable. What can you do? And this is really, really important. You need to be advocates. There's so many people that are living alone. I don't know if you know people, but there's people that have nobody. Their spouse has passed away, their kids don't live locally, their brothers and sisters don't live locally. If you are concerned about somebody, reach out for help. Call Jane's office, call Adult Protective Services. There are people, you don't have to be the detective. Call Consumer Affairs. If you think that there's a truck out there that shouldn't be there, or there's somebody that's befriending somebody and all of a sudden doing a whole lot of work on their house, call Consumer Affairs. Be an advocate. Look out for your neighbor. People live alone now. So please, be an advocate. Reach out to somebody if you're afraid. If you know a neighbor has Alzheimer's disease or an illness and they have an aide that's coming in and nobody is checking, pop over, unannounced. Just come over and bring a cookie or bring a piece of cake or something like that. And the other surprising thing that I think people don't think about a lot is that family members are not immune to taking advantage of their parents. Wish it was, wish that wasn't a reality of our everyday life. But if all of a sudden a son or a daughter is showing up and you feel like the person is getting distressed and trying to hide things, again, be an advocate. You don't, and so we have somebody here from APS. You don't have to give your name. You could report anonymously. APS will go over, will investigate, will check it out. If there's something, they'll take it further. If not, nothing happens. Please, if somebody has Alzheimer's disease and is living all alone, get involved. Be a neighbor. Be their voice when they don't have a voice. So that's my 2 goals for you today. Just to raise your awareness about this is a growing problem. Statistics are almost 50% of people when they reach 85 will have some sort of dementia. So when you look at the statistics that Jane showed, and you look at all of us getting up there, it's going to be a huge problem. So just keep aware of that. Make sure in your mind know that judgment goes along with the disease. I just want to mention there is a great resource in Ocean County for people who have Alzheimer's before it gets to a silver alert, and that's Project Lifesaver. Project Lifesaver is it's actually nationwide. And it's a band that the police will put on that if somebody has Alzheimer's disease, they could actually track the person. I guess it's like LoJack for people. So the person has to be living with a responsible caregiver or somebody because that person needs to check the battery and make sure it's still working. But what happens is if somebody with Alzheimer's disease has this bracelet on, and let's say the caregiver comes home or they can't find them. They call the police department, who then calls the Project Lifesaver team, and then they go out and they could actually track this person. It goes by, when they get close, it's beep, 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 beep. And it's very, very effective in tracking people with Alzheimer's disease. I think the average time to get somebody found is like 20 minutes to 25 minutes if the caregiver will call right away. And it is a tremendous comfort to the caregiver to know that their loved one has this sort of bracelet. And this, if more people had this is the sort of thing that would prevent somebody taking off in a Mercury or somebody wandering for 24, 48 hours, because people would be able to find that person sooner. So I think it's countywide. The Ocean County Office of Senior Services runs it.